Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the time-travelling toy collector, and today we're looking at Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Transmetals 2 Megatron. And first up, we're just taking a quick look at that rather awesome packaging, which is plastic-free, as you can see. Which again, of course, delivers on that fantastic, almost iconic Transformers box art, which we are so grateful for and have been since the 1980s. Again, there's Megatron in his dragon mode, breathing fire, and there he is in his Beast Wars robot mode. Now, I'll just give you, oops, sorry, as I knocked the camera, just a quick turn around the packaging. There's nothing really here to get overly excited about. Lovely, apart from the lovely artwork of Megatron on the front. We shall whiz him around before we get to look at the main event. For the product shots on the back, we can see him in dragon mode there. You can see him in a robot mode there. Apologies, the box is quite large, so I'm trying to maneuver it around. But you know what? The box is not what we're really here for, so I'm going to park the box at the earliest opportunity and say, hey, and here he is. Here is Transmetals 2 Megatron, Leader Class Megatron. I'll bring him a bit closer. Now, originally, this was not a figure that I was going to get. I wasn't interested in him at all. Simple reason, Beast Wars, as some of you will know from my previous videos, Beast Wars was not an era with which I was particularly familiar, nor was it an era with which I was particularly interested. It sort of fell in the 90s when I had left school. I was no longer collecting toys. I discovered other things in the world to occupy my attention, rightly or wrongly. But that's where my focus was. So I wasn't really knowledgeable about Beast Wars at all. In fact, I won't lie, when I was seeing some of the Beast Wars products, I thought, well, actually, I think Transformers had gone downhill quite a bit. Now, again, that's me coming from my time when Transformers was about robot planes, robot cars, robot cassette players, etc., disguising themselves as stuff. I wasn't following the Beast Wars storyline, so I didn't really know what was going on. I have educated myself, you'll be pleased to know, since then, and have a much greater understanding of Beast Wars now, not least because of their introduction into the War for Cybertron range previously. But anyway, enough of that. It comes down to how fantastic are the figures, and are they good, and are they great? And this figure, I will say, absolutely is phenomenal. And I wasn't expecting it to be. I wasn't expecting it to be a bad figure by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a lot better than I was expecting, I'll be honest. Now, that said, there's maybe 3 things that I need to mention that are on the downside, and I'll do those now. Downside number 1. When I took Megatron's package in robot mode, when I took him out, the chest assembly and these claws, faux claws, which are actually the real claws for the dragon mode, they felt a little mistransformed. It didn't feel very secure and robust, and if I tried to pose it and move it at all, it was very much a sense it was going to fall apart on me, which I was not a fan of. So I was a bit wary of that, and I tried to sort of firm it up and push bits in to see what I could do. And of course, being unfamiliar with the figure and its original form, I wasn't sure if I was doing anything right or wrong. But yeah, there was certainly a sense around this sort of shoulder region and the chest and the head there. I was a bit concerned that it wasn't a very robust figure. I've subsequently managed to make it a bit more robust, but I think maybe once I've transformed it a couple of times, I might have a different opinion. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this. It's this. I mean, he's holding a molten club. I don't usually use the accessories for display purposes when I'm just like having a look at these figures. So I'm going to take it off for now. But, you know, it looks really good, and it can be lit really well. But it, you know, it can be held in his hand as a sort of lava club, molten lava club. I don't know what you'd call it. But to me, that doesn't make a whole heap of sense. It looks good as a standalone accessory. It's the only accessory you actually get, by the way. But yeah, I don't think the club mode really works for me. But, you know, it's a thing you can do. The other thing you can do with it, which links into the third and other thing, and possibly the thing that made me kind of not a big Beast Wars fan, is that we have this arm. So Megatron famously has a cannon on his arm. In this instance, and also I know in its sort of Transmetals 1 and blah blah blah, and also, and it's generally a thing of Beast Wars, is the arm is this kind of dragon neck arm, which you can kind of pose a bit, so he's like standing with it. Let me pull out a little bit because I don't think you can get the full effect of that. You can kind of pose him so he's got his hand on his hip type of maneuver, which is, you know, great, but it looks a bit odd, and I really struggled to reconcile why Cybertronian warrior robots would have organic components. Again, I didn't know the storyline. I do know now, so you don't have to put it in the comments. I know. I've done my research, but back in the 90s, I wasn't interested, and I certainly wasn't going to do research, and I didn't have the internet, so, you know, life became easier. Thankfully, I timed it just right. But what you can do is you can attach this into there's a socket within the hand, dragon head hand. But again, you can't, sorry, apologies. You can't really angle it very well. You know, it's kind of like where it's aimed down. So how do you target something? You can't really. It's a bit kind of, yeah. So I'm going to take that out. But yeah, so robots that have animal heads as arms, I can cope with them a bit better if they're sort of on the chest, or they're like the Predacons, or they're tucked away somewhere clever like with the Dinobots. But when they're front and center because there's nowhere to put them, that for me, not so great. It really gets in my way of enjoying the figure, because I'm too busy worrying about why metallic creatures would have pseudo earth animals. Well, I mean, I appreciate dragons are potentially not real, but we won't get into that discussion here. Yeah, so for me, that's a real effort to suspend my disbelief. And yes, you could say, but you managed to suspend your disbelief about robots that turn into cars and planes and cassette decks and so on and so forth. And I'll go, yeah, I can. Thanks, I can do that, yeah. That I can do. Animals, not so much. That's me. Sorry. Guilty. However, parking that completely, what I can say is now I've got this figure in hand, I'm so glad I picked it up, because he is a leader class, so he's a hefty old figure, and he is absolutely worth it. Let's see if we can get in a bit closer on the old head sculpt there. I mean, he is beastly. Is probably the best way I can do it. There is some light piping available there, but yeah, to be honest, I'm just trying to get you a nice view of the face sculpt, because it really is quite impressive, I think, as a face sculpt. Well, the whole body is really, because what you've got is you've got this mix of Cybertronian tech. So you can see there's cogs, there's, as we move down the body, there's sort of robotic elements, but there is also that very real sense of musculature, and a very real sense of organic components attached to it. I love the gold and the silver detailing. I love the orange detailing. I very, very, very much love the purple, the deep red, and the gold that we see throughout the figure. The color scheme is it screams Decepticon, but it also if I were to say, yeah, can I go with the whole, it's a kind of a robot that can turn into a beast, then, you know, if I accept that, then I have to tell you that I think what this figure looks like is exactly what it says on the box. It does look immense. It's very sturdy. It's very poseable. You've got some good knees. Again, you've got this dragon arm, which, you know, I don't even know. That for me, even now, even in this really, really strong and solid figure, it still gives me a couple of moments of pause. But I do think overall, as I pick this up so you can get a good look at the legs, it's got sort of, again, like the hands, it's got monster feet, and the monster feet stay the dragon feet, so we don't really do anything much about those. We change the legs a bit, but the feet stay the feet. But you can see that lovely detailing on the figure, that again, the colour scheme, the purple, the gold, it follows all the way through. It's very consistent. You can see the gold teeth there and the gold tusks that form part of his hand. I mean, his hand is a dragon head. But, you know, once we get it into dragon mode, we'll see how that translates, because I'm hoping it makes much more sense and instantly forgivable. But I think, yeah, overall, I really like the sculpt of this. I really love this sort of eye of, I guess it might be his spark, but it reminds me a little bit of the eye of Sauron. He's got lovely purple eyes that I'm hoping you can see. He's grimacing a little bit, but then he's probably going, yeah, I was left-handed, but now all I've got is this dragon head. It's very inconvenient. Oh, there goes. His left knee on my copy is a little bit loose, as you just saw there. He just sort of collapsed, gave me a death drop. His arm has like a gauntlet feel to it, as you can see those little spikes rather. There's no rotation on the wrist, but it does have an inward bend slightly, and you've also got the elbow and the bicep. To be fair, you've got pretty much all the articulation you would expect. Let's have a look at the back. There is some back kibble, I'm afraid, here. Quite a bit going on, actually. You've got a ponytail of sorts, which dangles down, and the ponytail sort of masks, but not really, this back section. I mean, there's still great detailing here. We've got these sort of cogs next to these fantastic slightly pliable wings, which spread out in dragon mode, which we'll see then. Again, you can pose these as you wish, particularly for photography. You can also angle these sections at the top as you wish. Again, the color scheme is beautiful. It's lovely. The only thing that I noticed when I was trying to scooch it all together is if you try and flatten this a bit more in the back, as you can see, hopefully there, it's quite pronounced. But if you try and flatten it more against the back, because you kind of get a sense that it can, but when you try, it does rather dislodge. And I'll pull out slightly, if I can, on the camera, just to get it all in. It does rather slightly dislodge poor Megatron's head section, which is a shame. But again, if you follow down the rest of it, you've got these, as I say, these lovely wings, which we'll see. The detailing on the leg, there's not really any hollow elements, which for a leader class you would hope there isn't, although there is a little bit of gappage you can see through here and there, in between the torso section, but it's again, depending how you display him, it's not unforgivable by any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to put his club back in just for comedy value, but again, as I say, I'm being a bit flippant, but I really liked this figure. There's a lot to like about this figure. But what I'm going to do now is brave the instructions and try and see if I can turn him into dragon mode and see if I can redeem that head sculpt and from an arm to a head. I've got a feeling it might work out. So anyway, don't go away, and I'll try and transform him quicker than you can say Megatronus. And here he is in his dragon mode. And I have to say, again, I know this is not my kind of area, because Beast Wars was something that I didn't really engage with, given when it fell in the sort of timeline of me growing up and the toys being released. So I don't really have much knowledge. I have watched a few sort of history of retrospectives on Transformers and the basics on Beast Wars, etc, etc. So I kind of had an idea of it, but I have to say, and it was really probably through watching a couple of other reviewers' videos that I was really taken with what this figure looked like. But I thought, well, will it look as good as it? I'm hoping it's going to look. And I have to say, now I've got him all transformed up into robot mode, the answer to that is, into dragon mode, the answer to that is yes. This is an incredible figure. So I was already, as you know, sort of taken with robot mode, apart from those couple of unboxing issues, but seeing him in dragon mode, it really is quite something. I mean, even down to, you know, check out this head. This head sculpt is in dragon mode is something. Isn't that quite impressive? And you do get the opening and closing mouth. And if we take this effect, we can slide that in. I don't often use the blast effects that come with these figures, but I think if ever there was a figure that warranted using the blast effect, it's definitely Transmetals 2 Megatron in his dragon mode. It really works well. It works far better in his mouth here than it could possibly work, or than it works rather, not could possibly work, that's a bit mean, but then it works when it's in robot mode as a sort of fiery club. That to me doesn't really make sense. I mean, I can live with it. It could be forged in lava. I don't know, I'm making up my own storylines now. But I think this is a beautiful figure. And the transformation, I'll be honest, I'll take this out now just for maneuverability's sake. But the transformation was very straightforward. There was a couple of elements. I'm just going to fold his wings in slightly so that I've got some maneuverability of the figure. But the transformation was very straightforward. There was a few points of tabbage around the shoulders and the chest that made me a little anxious and uncomfortable, but otherwise it was terrific. But I mean, look at this detailing on the head. Look at this gold along with the red. There's the purple detailing. I hope you can see that. The purple detailing on the nose. If I now flatten these out, if flattening it out is the answer, you might be able to see that a bit more clearly. The purple on his nose that is followed through on his actual neck. And again, this, you know, you can kind of, now I'm seeing it like this, I can kind of forgive the arm, the dragon head arm. It still doesn't work for me particularly, but I can forgive it more because once it's in this mode, it's really impressive. It's really impressive. And I'm so taken with that head. Now that I'm away from being distracted by it being an arm, I really love it as a head. I'm going to put those back in again just because it gives me a bit of maneuverability. But yeah, I really think that's a great sculpt. So let's take a look at the body as best we can. This is a leader class, and my goodness me, it really is a huge leader class. You can see the gold underside of there as we follow that through into, sorry, part of his hip arrangement won't stay tabbed in. I think that was me though, it's not the figure. So here we have those claws, which are beautifully integrated into the chest of robot mode, and you do get some very basic articulation, not a huge amount, but it does what it needs to do. I mean, goodness me, it's a dragon. We've got the chest piece here with the, I'll see if I turn it so you can see it lit, with the faux chest piece that now comes up here, the replication of that sort of, I don't know whether that's supposed to be a spark, but that sort of Eye of Sauron type of thing that we see in the middle of Megatron's chest in robot mode. And then, of course, that gold follows through with the red into the tail arrangement. And it really is beautiful. And you've got the purple again on the knees there. The feet are really just a contracted version of Megatron's feet. There's not a huge amount to see there. These wings are so expansive, they really do get in the way, unfortunately. But I'm now going to see if I can maneuver around so you can see the back here. Again, the detailing on the neck, on the back of the body, you can see there how that plays into the colour scheme, plays into the wing arrangement there. And you can splay them like this, or you can, again, contract them down a bit if you wish to. But I don't wish to, because I know it's a bit of a nuisance as I'm trying to keep them contained in the review area. I might do it a little bit for just clearance sake, but you know, I think it's really beautiful. And I know they're transparent plastic, but it's really helpful, and it's nice and soft, but it's really helpful that it picks up the light so beautifully. So getting back to the body, you can see there's a wonderful sense, I must say, of sort of combining this sense of scale, so this organic scale, with the robotized cogs and mechanics that we can see there, and here and there and throughout the design of the rear of Megatron in Dragon mode. I think that's a really good thing. And of course it covers, we've not seen it before, we've seen it before, we've seen it in other Beast Wars figures, and we've seen it of course in the Dinobots, but I think that real sense of organic flesh, for want of a better phrase, the scales are much more pronounced here than they are perhaps certainly in the Dinobots. And then we have the tail unit, which you can't see, so I'm going to sort of twist him around a little bit more, which is articulated, and of course is the back end of Megatron's head, which again comes with its articulation and that sort of immobile claw at the end, but it's just nice detailing, and it does provide a nice bit of support when Megatron is trying to stand up. So, and again, he's got quite a nice base, a nice wide base with these legs, so he does stand well. His centre of gravity is effective. There's just a little bit still, even in this mode, around his neck area that makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like it's continually not holding in as it should do. I may have done something slightly wrong with the transformation because I tried to rush it through. But irrespective of that, it's same as in the figure mode. I'm just a bit cautious of it. I will spend more time looking at it and examining it after this, but because it could well be me, but it just feels a little bit like it's prone to fall apart at the, if you look at it the wrong way. But you know what? I think overall, considering my initial concerns regarding this figure, I think I can put them to rest, to be honest. I think it's a really great addition to the Legacy range. I think it's a really well put together figure. I, for one, am really glad. I'm just trying to do some panning up and down before pulling it a bit more to that dragon head. I really am glad that I picked this up. And, I'm gonna try some stuff with Triptychon and with maybe Predaking and some of the other, and maybe the Dinobots, and see what I can do photographically with this character. I'm sure there's quite a bit. But yeah, ultimately, I'm really glad. I had my concerns, I had my reservations on several fronts. Not least that I didn't necessarily think this was my area of interest, but seeing him like this, getting him in hand, playing with him, manoeuvring him, it's really made it worthwhile for me. So I personally am really glad that I picked it up. And one more time, let's pop this back in there just for the full-on dragon effect, which I think works really well in this mode, far better than robot mode, I have to say. It's a bit of a I don't want to say it's a missed opportunity, because I don't know what the opportunity would have been, but I think in the robot mode it just doesn't quite work, and there's no other storage for it, which is a bit of a nuisance. Anyway, does Transformers Legacy Evolution Transmetals 2 Megatron belong in your collection? Well, as I say, I'm a convert, so I would say probably yes. If you're a Transformers fan, if you're a Beast Wars fan, if you're a returning fan from the good old days, or if you're a new fan and you're looking at the Legacy figures afresh, then yeah, I think there's a lot in this figure that you will come to appreciate, even if you're not sure about it now. But it's a considered purchase, so do be mindful of that. They still have stock at Hasbro Pulse. You may also find it in your high street retailers and other online stores like In Demand Toys, Kapow Toys in the UK, and I'm sure others as well. So I hope you found this video of interest. Apologies for it taking so long for me to get this up and out for you. If it's been useful, if you've made your mind up based on this, or it's given you some things to think about, then that's fantastic. Either way, please do like the video, because it really helps me and it helps the video to continue and to reach more people. Whilst you're there, why not hit the subscribe button and also turn on those notifications so you never miss a future video. You've been a fantastic audience. I've been the Time Travelling Toy Collector, and this has been Transmetals 2 Megatron from the Transformers Legacy Evolution range. All that's left for me to say is I look forward to seeing you in a future video, and to remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye-bye for now.